What's up, Rage? What's up, Shadow? All right, let's hop in Warframe here. Oh god.
I knew we had a shared passion.
My bad. Forgot to beat my stream. Who's this guy on my screen? I don't know. Some of the sites you might go to might be some real weird guys on your screen. I got some of the commands back, not all of them. Yeah, Merry Christmas, everybody. Just start, yes. What's up, Kenny? Yeah, I got the new player command, Discord command, the favorite frame / gyre command, a few of them, the amp command. Not all of them. I still got to get the influence command back and some other ones like that, for example. 30 streams in a row. This Codex guy needs to go live. What? That's not even true. What do you mean? Says the person who's here for every single one of them. Crazy. Crazy work. What's up, man? I'm new to the game. Well, you should hop in the Discord then. Got a whole community of just recently past 1,000 people. Lots of good people in there. Can help you out on your Warframe journey. A few videos on my channel will probably help you out as well. All right, I was thinking about what to make today's video. I think it might be a operator amp update video. Why do I feel like I'm getting a little bit of micro stutter lag? Am I just going crazy? I might be. Last stream, how much did Shark donate? It was a lot. It was around 250 gifted subs, I think. I think it was, well, I think maybe somebody else did like 10. He did at least 200. What am I doing in Warframe tonight? Well, we gotta figure out today's video. But like I said, I think it might be a operator update. It's not going to be going over all the Talron strikes. That's going to be its own video at some point. But I have been meaning to put out a new, like, general use operator setup. You know, 547 and arcanes and all that. I will go over the mods for Talron strikes because no matter which strike you have, modding it with like amp damage mods is a huge damage increase for amps. Alright, just go back to lockdown. Where are all the healing arcanes? Guess I could mention something like elevate as an option. Sold a Verglass ribbon for 400p. Did I goof up? Depends on the roll. If you roll a crazy good Verglass ribbon, you can definitely sell it for substantially more than 4,000, like up to like adding a 0 to that, literally. But if you were just rolling some trash roll that you happen to get, then 400 plat might not be so bad. You care too much about information accuracy. Just lie and make shit up. It works for me. Based? Which tower on strike is the best? What effects does it give? I don't think I've accurately determined what the best would be, if there even is an answer to that question. They all have uses. I mean, Materai as a whole, maybe not specifically just the tower on strike alone, but Materai as a whole is still a top tier tree, like it's always been, just because of the insane amount of damage utility that it provides to your operator. And makes self-reviving very, very easy, assuming you have the last gasp wave bound unlocked. Dad got me new Razer headphones for Christmas. Very nice. The bow is the best one because I said so. All of the strikes are cool though. Yeah. The bow is cool. That's true. I do like it. Let me see which mods I have on this right now. This is probably gonna be using Materai in the video. Yeah. Right now, the three main amp damage ones for me are the multi-shot, the crit chance, and the fire rate. I am using 2 Xeneric mods, so that's nice, actually. I'm getting a little bit of amp crit damage from this as well. It's plus 10% for each Xeneric mod, and I like the sling mods here. I use my operator movement to get around all the time. I should probably mention this one, Zidane Ozbach. This one is even more maximization of your amp damage if you really want to do extreme giga numbers. Moonu, thank you for the follow, appreciate you. I use 547. I think 547 is the best all-purpose amp in the game. Ozbach is best general arcane. Bros said Uskos wrong. That's crazy. Typo. Anyone know if Archon Vitality affects Neja's Divine Retribution? I feel like it should, since, I mean, even if you apply a heat proc with a weapon at first, technically the ability is spreading the heat proc, so I don't know if that would make it count or not, but I would hope so. I don't know for a fact, though. One question I do have is, are we still rocking Eternal Onslaught? The crit chance from Eternal Onslaught was made slightly less mathematically effective by the crit chance mod if you're running that, although it's still a large damage increase. Even if it is still maximal damage, which I haven't done the math on that, you could argue for the convenience of something like Virtuous Strike. It just is automatically triggered as opposed to having to actually empty your energy pool out for your operator. Strike has become a lot better choice now with the addition of both the crit chance increase, which means that you're more likely to crit to be able to actually trigger this in the first place, and then the fire rate increase mod as well, which means that you're pumping out more crits per second, again for a higher potential proc rate for Strike. So this is probably a pretty good pick. Prime sure-footed for operators mod. Yeah, that one is nice every once in a while. I personally don't feel like I really have much of a use for that because I don't feel like I get knocked down as much on my operator enough to use a mod slot for it. I'm not usually like running around with my operator. I'm usually just flicking into them to kill a operator-specific enemy real quick and then go back into my frame. I can cascade, for example. Internal logistics is viable now. Yeah, that's the ammo efficiency one, right? Yeah. I don't. What's the use case for ammo efficiency on amps if you do so much damage that you can? Like the strongest enemies I can think of for an amp use case is, you know, level cap Thrax, for example. And even before these mods, but now especially with these mods, you can basically instantly tap them. Like you don't have to do sustained DPS to kill an enemy with the proper amp setup. So I'm not sure where the utility of extra amp ammo economy comes into play. Spam glaive. That's actually a decent point. The alt fire, I didn't consider that. That is a good point. So Smurf. Logistic plus 4 is infinite ammo. Somebody watched that one Excalibur guy's video. Yeah, it's an interesting combination. And Eradicate is just base damage, so especially if you run the base damage or mod, which I'm not running right now. Some slightly diminished returns.
Big bow.
What the fuck? I don't even know I had text-to-speech enabled. What the fuck? Bro just said big bow. All right. There's a glaive. He's talking about the amp alt fire, Leroy. It's not like a glaive melee. If you have the four middle part, the pod scaffold, the pod scaffold alt fire is a bouncy glaive amp shot. That's what he's referring to. How's my Christmas? Playing Warframe, so it's S tier, 10 out of 10. Yeah, I did not know I had text-to-speech on, I'll be entirely honest. Oh, whoops. I just turned off my music on accident. My bad. Let me go turn it back on. Where the fuck is my text-to-speech even coming from? What the fuck? What? I can see it. Am I blind? How the fuck do you turn this off? Also, thank you for the bits, by the way, because I think you spent bits to do that, so thank you. Whatever. I'll figure that out later. They remove hydrate? Maybe. Maybe just to annoy T-Spin personally. If you try and edit operator mods in clan, it bugs and breaks. Oh, fantastic. Did I get water from my car? Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. You'll never know. Okay, Shotgun and energy drink instead of hydrate. Yeah, call it the fucking heart palpitation redeem. Just kill me on the spot. Trying to think of what else. What I would need to mention for a video like this.
You can only spend 100 bits for it, but if others find this out I will feel bad.
Dude, nobody has ever used text-to-speech in my fucking streams before. This is crazy.
Choo-choo, motherfucker!
Is it possible to turn these off since it doubles up with the leg redeem?
Help!
Yeah, it's through sound alerts is where the text-to-speech is running. Yeah, I'm on the settings page for right now. I just don't actually see the button to disable it is the funny thing. I must be just literally blind. Like, I think I'm actually fucking blind. Oh my god, I'm blind, bro. What the fuck? Okay, whatever. We'll figure it out later. It's all good. It's whatever. I guess I should mention the way bounds. I can't even like remember what it's like to play without all these. I had these maxed out so long ago.
It's a funny way to bother you, but if you can try to at least put it up to like 1000 bits or higher. By the way, Musa use a PC to do it.
Dude. 1,000 bits. Isn't a bit like a isn't one bit like 1 penny? So it already costs you $1 to do this, and I don't want to make it fucking $10. Unless I got the price wrong for bits. I don't remember what the price conversion for bits is, to be honest. $100 bits is $240 for you. For the discount. Oh yeah, there is a bit discount right there right now, isn't there? I think I saw one. Best Tyron strike in your opinion? I have to go Matter-Eye. I do like the combined total utility of Matter-Eye, yeah. I do like that they added another 50% strength buff to Matter-Eye, so now you can get a total of 90, which is quite nice.
$1.99 faux 90 bits for me.
Also, it's more than that. Okay. How much affinity did it take to max out? What, focus? I don't remember the total tree cost anymore, but the new nodes are around 5 million. Just to get the strike node, plus its all of its upgrades is about 5 million focus, plus some of the Predator resources. Does the infinite matter arrows still work with Sarin spores? I think that might have gotten patched in some way. I don't know. I haven't tried it myself. I know, it's probably simpler than I'm thinking. All the bid activities, yeah, clearly. Let me go try out. I'm on the wrong thing. What the fuck am I doing? I'm gonna try out logistics. Just ran into the Prime Vanguard healing so much it was a 14-minute fight. Ever had that happen or know how to prevent that? No, I've never had that happen, but I instantly kill them so they don't have a chance to heal. I usually just slam them with the Magistar.
Your weapons make music, and the
I swear my game is laggy right now, dude. What the fuck is going on?
The Oregon Neural Sentry is attempting to purge you from this place. Stand by for life support.
My frame rate says that it's good, but this feels fucking terrible. What the fuck is this? It certainly does let you spam the glaive vault fire, that's true. It's just pretty funny. We got glaives everywhere. Yeah, over 100 kpm with just an operator. Lol. What gun is that testing? It's a 547 amp. What's the most efficient way to farm for Tauron for Marie? Buy her daily supply every single day, but then also make sure that you're just running Predator Rebellion. The only way that you can really increase the efficiency of how fast you get Tauron strikes from Marie is primarily from getting more orders done in each individual Predator run. Because you're going to get more of the resources, because every order completed is another +1 resource. You get 10 for just doing the mission, and then you get an additional 1 for each order done. So if you only do 5 orders, for example, then you'll get 15 of the resource. Well, plus whatever the prime frames drop, because killing them also drops some. But if you do, 15 orders, then you'll get 25. So the more efficiently you can run the Predator Rebellion, the faster you get all your strikes. Buy amp parts for Plaza knowing to kill Eidolons when. It's funny you mentioned that because I think they did actually add an amp pack recently. Didn't they add a... What's it called, though? They added a... This one, the War Stories bundle. Yeah, it comes with the... comes with the Club Rick, Grand New, and Lowren, which I'm not... It's not, it's not like a meta combination, obviously, but... It is a purchasable amp, technically. It's not a good one, but it's better than the mode amp, I guess. Volt amp skin, yep. Hydron Axie's up right now, giving me flashbacks to last night, me failing my 2-hour defense. Trying out your newest gyre build, the lightning strikes don't look half as frequently as they are in your video. Is the nuke line of sight or companion based? Yeah, it's line of sight. You're not gonna be hitting guys through walls. So the room that I was using for the showcase was a really big open room, so it was a lot of you know, a lot of consistency for the strikes because there was multiple enemies coming from multiple directions for a lot of line of sight activation. Now the secondary discharge that comes off of the enemy, that can be non-line of sight because the way that the ability works is that you strike somebody and then that person can discharge off and hit some more people. So if you hit somebody that's like down a corridor, for example, that person can then discharge and see somebody like that's line of sight from them but not from you. But yeah, the initial target has to be line of sight. Also, Panda, thank you for the follow. Fight Master, thank you for the follow, appreciate you. Yeah, hopefully that helped a little bit. Alright, let's pause the music here. Let's go turn off some the Twitch stuff and all that. Let's see. Turn this down. Go to the recording tab. I'll disable redeems. Could be good. Could be good now. Okay. Let's see if we can do this. Alright, how do I want to do this? Should be... Ah, Carson. With the 5 gifted subs, right after I turn off all the alerts, why would you do this to me? Now they can't see it. I appreciate you though, thank you very much. Yeah, Carson just dropped 5 gifted. It's like Panda, Magus, Fortuna, Alive, and Profet all got a sub. Very nice.
You have joined the Codex.
Oh, now it's doing that freaking constant sub noise. How did I fix that again?
You have joined the Codex.
That's how I did it. There we go. Yeah, thank you again, Carson. Appreciate that. Now, if anybody wants to give any more subs or anything, let's wait until after we do the recording. That way, people can actually, you know, see your pop up and all that. Plus, you know, not have the noises in the video. Although I greatly appreciate it. What's up, Evo? Shark beats me by far. You gotta catch up. Actually, here, let me do this real quick. Properties, control audio. Let's mute that. Control audio. Do that. There we go. Okay, I think now we're good for real this time, hopefully. All right. Before I do this, let's double check my forma. Keep it building. Man, I had 350 Argon just the other day, and now I'm down to only having a 90. It just goes right through your fingers, doesn't it? Like sand through an hourglass. eating Skittles and watching stream. Very nice. Eradicate and logistics might be a funny combination, especially with matches melt as well for the heat damage. Let's take another look at this right here. I actually forgot about that. I think this combination of mods is pretty universally applicable. I will mention the knockdown resistance one. Knockdown immunity, because a lot of people probably like that. Yeah, it's a 547. We're about to live record a video about it in a moment here. Just reminding myself what all these mods do in case I think any of the other ones are relevant. All right. Let's do a test run here. Hello there, and welcome back to the Codex, and welcome back to day 25. Merry Christmas, by the way. Out of 31, I'm doing a video every single day of December to celebrate Tennobomb. Today we're going to be doing a update to a much older video of mine, yet again, going over a general, good, all-purpose operator and amp loadout that you can take basically anywhere and have a good time, whether you need to just be able to self-revive yourself or do good operator damage. Maybe you want to go to a high-level void cascade. Whatever you need to do, this will do it for you. Basically, the only thing that this build is not going to be centered around is doing Eidolons, because these days not very many people do that. And outside of Eidolons, you can basically bring the same setup anywhere and be, you know, nearly maximum efficiency. So let's hop into the loadout here. Now, before we get into the actual equipment, I will mention it is important to ideally have all of your focus schools maxed out. I know obviously a lot of you are not going to have that yet, but a goal that you can work towards is at least getting to the point where you have all of the waybounds unlocked for your operator schools. If you don't know what waybounds are, in each of the 5 focus schools, there's 2 abilities on each of the trees that not only can you rank them up, and they're active, of course, while you're actually running that tree, but the final rank of those abilities is actually unbinding them and allowing those buffs to be active no matter which tree that you're running. For example, in the Matter-Eye tree, Inner Gaze, which gives increased energy for amps and Void Beam by 40%, and Eternal Gaze, which says increased energy regeneration rate for amps and Void Beam by 60%. Both of those are unbound for me, which means that even when I'm not running Matter-Eye, I'm still gaining these benefits. And if you look over here on the right side, you can see the full list of waybounds that I currently have unlocked, which is all of them, because each of the 5 trees has 2, and there's 10 in total. So Enduring Tides, for example, is Operator Health and Armor. Void Flow is Operator Energy. Mind Step is Operator Movement Speed. Far Sling is Void Sling Distance. That's a really important one. So once you unbind all of these, you have a lot of permanent quality of life that's active on your operator, no matter which tree that you're running. Now, in terms of the tree that you actually run for your primary tree, the one that I still recommend for most general purpose content, and the tree that you can just kind of plug and play and it's always useful, is still going to be the Matter-Eye tree. Even with all of the additions of the Tauron Strikes and the new focus nodes and all of that, while there is several reasons to use the other trees now, and there already was before, like Naramon for melee builds, for example, if you just want a tree that always is useful, Matter-Eye is still, in my opinion, the way to go. Just the amount of damage utility that it gives you to your operator makes it really easy to self-revive, for example, via Last Gasp, which is some of the main utility that people care about when it comes to their operators. If any of you don't know what Last Gasp is, it's a Unairu node. Go to Unairu here. And Last Gasp says, revive your Warframe by transferring to operator and killing 3 enemies before 15 seconds elapse and the revive meter begins to drain. I will note that it doesn't say this, but also killing a single Xmas enemy will actually immediately get you up. So it's either enough enemies or 1 single Xmas. And you can also unbind Vengeance, which makes you do more damage the longer that you're in Last Gasp. So the longer it takes you to revive, the more damage you'll do. So it's kind of like Berserker Rage towards the end of your life. So that's very useful to unbind from Unairu. And again, since it's unbound, it's active even though I'm running Materai. Now back to Materai here, we get a ton of damage increases, like operator damage increased by 30%. We have the Void Strike ability you can activate, which drains your current energy to give you up to a 1000% temporary damage bonus for 8 seconds. So that's a insane damage buff. We have Void Fuel, which gives you amp efficiency while Void Strike is active, so you can spam out more shards. Okay, I just said shards. Bro, what? Shards? You can shart like crazy, chat. That's crazy. That's actually a good time to go blow my nose, though, because my nose has been stuffed up like fucking crazy. Let me go do that real quick. I gotta take a damn allergy pill, man. Not even going outside today, my nose is acting like it.
Tenno, a new alert has begun. It will be marked on navigation.
All right, I'm back. Yeah, clip it, bro. Yeah. All right. I think I'm gonna restart that anyway. That flow, that video wasn't what I wanted. I think I'm actually gonna start off with just explaining where to get the amp parts from in the first place. Maybe explain what the numbers mean. Yeah, let's do that. And I'm still really not a fan of how my game feels right now. It's very odd. I feel like I need to restart my computer, which is annoying because I'm streaming right now, so I really don't want to do that. Did you say 577 is worth it? I don't have the quills unlocked on it. Yeah, I mean, it's still a lot better than, like, the Sirocco or Moat amp by far. $577 is fine, yep. I would say you eventually want to get a 547 though. You'll see why soon here, because the glaive alt fire of the 4 is incredible. Just for crowd clearing and self-reviving and all that. Man, I'm really getting some like micro stutter right now. It's highly annoying. All right, let's do another test run here. Also, let me make sure I'm not special. It is Cantic, right? Stuff. 5. Yeah, Cantic Certus, yeah. Hello there, and welcome back to the Codex, and welcome back to day 25, Merry Christmas by the way, of 31 of doing a video every single day of December to celebrate TennoBomb. Today's video is going to be a refresher on what I think is the best kind of all-purpose operator and amp setup that you can use to just dominate all regular content in the game. Basically, the only thing that it's not built around is doing like hyper-specific Eidolon setups, which to be fair, nobody really does it anyway. Most people just want a good operator and amp for the purposes of like self-reviving or Void Cascade or just general mission use case or getting around using Void Sling, for example. So that's what we're going to be primarily going over. So the amp that I use is what is called a 547. Now you're going to see a chart on screen that is indicative of what those numbers mean. So when somebody says 547, for example, that's referring to a Cantic Prism, a Pod Scaffold, and a Certus Brace. So the first number means the Prism, the second number means the Scaffold, and the third number means the Brace. Now, to get the combination of those three parts, you're going to need to rank up both the Quills and the Voxelar Syndicate. So let's go ahead and hop over to the Quills first and showcase what we need from them. I forget what rank you have to be for this, to be honest. Does it tell you the rank needed for the item when you hover over it or not? I'll just look it up on the wiki if I need to.
We are bound. Family to... Is it time?
While I'm here, take my standing, broski. Thank you.
Allow us to improve your efficiency.
I think the only thing from him is the Pod Scaffold, and then the Certus and the Cantic are both from Little DL, because it's a 5 and a 7. Pod Scaffold. Let's see. What rank do we need for this? Instrument rank or higher? What rank is instrument? Well, standing instrument. Rank 4 instrument, okay.
We are prepared to provide.
So the scaffold that you want to get from the Quills, which is the only part that we get from the Quills, is the Pod Scaffold. It says it launches an energy disc that ricochets off victims and surfaces, and it launches itself towards new targets with each strike. So it's basically a bouncy glaive, and it is incredibly effective at clearing out groups of enemies as you will see in some gameplay later. Now let's go over to Little Duck and showcase what you need from her.
In time. Tenno separating from
Oh, I forgot to say you need rank 4 for that.
You are an
Let's do that again.
These will assist.
Whoops. So the scaffold they're going to be getting from the quills is going to be the pod scaffold. This is a bouncy glaive alt fire that you shoot it out and it ricochets between all of the enemies in front of you and is very incredibly effective at clearing out clumps of enemies. And that makes it very good for self-reviving, for example. Now, you do need to be rank 4, the instrument rank, with the quills in order to get this. So if you're not already up to rank 4, you are going to have to work on getting those ranks up in order to acquire this. Now, the other two parts, the Certus Brace and the Cantic Prism, are going to come from Little Duck. So let's go ahead and hop over there and showcase those.
In time. The history.
The main fire of the 5 is a burst fire, Draco. It's a 3 burst.
What kept you hot shot? Authentically handcrafted by colourful locals.
What rank do we need for these? Let's see. Certus Brace. Instrument. Oh, they have the same name. That's funny. Instrument rank. Cantic Prism. The Agent.
Your call.
So Agent and Instrument. So you can get the Brace at 2. We need to be 4 for the other part. The Cantic is Agent. Okay.
Any of this useful?
So the prism that we're going to be using, like I said, is going to be the Cantic Prism from Little Duck. Now, this only requires rank 2, but the brace that you want, which is easily the best brace in the game for basically every amp, is a Certus Brace. Now, this requires rank 4, so to get all of the amp parts, you are going to need to be up to rank 4 on the Voxelaris, just like you need to rank 4 for the Quill. So you are going to have to work on getting both of these up. It's not super hard, thankfully. The main thing you have to do is to do some Profit Taker fights, which, if you just need to do it enough to get all the parts that you need, it's really not that bad. And it's definitely worth it. Trust me, the 547 is an incredible amp. So now let's go ahead and showcase the setup that I use on both my operator and my amp in regards to the arcanes and all that kind of stuff.
No skin off.
What are we looking at right now? I'm recording a video about a just a basic operator amp setup. If only they were tradable? Yeah, real. Probably a market for them, that's true. Now, outside of just having the proper amp built, or whatever the amp is of your choice, you don't have to use the 547, it's just my personal favorite. There is other factors that will affect your power level. There's the operators, there's the, let's do that again. Now, outside of just having the proper amp built, there's other factors that will affect your power level. There's the actual arcanes that you put on your amp, and the arcanes for your operator, and the focus school choice that you make. So let's go ahead and take a look at those. Hopping into the settings here. So first of all, we'll go over the focus schools before we get into the actual equipment. So first of all, we'll look at the focus schools before we get into the actual equipment. So even with all these new Tauron strikes and the new operator passives and whatnot, I still do think that in general, for the, you know, large all-purpose broad overview for what the best school is, I would still say Madurai is the most broadly applicable to most content in the game. Just the amount of value that it gives you from largely just the huge damage increases that it gives you makes it very easy to, for example, self-revive, which is one of the main use cases that people often have for operators. One of the things that enables that is, for example, Phoenix Talons gives your operator 30% extra damage, Void Strike gives your operator up to 1,000% extra damage by draining your energy, and Void Fuel gives you extra ammo basically for your amp while Void Strike is active. And that's not even all. We also have things like Contamination Wave, which makes enemies more vulnerable to amp damage. That's also a very large damage increase. And we have other utility, even utility that affects your frame. For example, we have Sling Strength, which makes you have an additional 40% power strength to your Warframe after chaining slings together. In addition to that, if you do have the Tauron Strike available from Madurai, we also have access to the new node, Overwhelming Power, which gives you up to another 50% power strength to your Warframe. So not only is your operator going to do a lot of damage, you can also juice up the strength of your Warframes on command, which is very nice. It's also very useful for frames that are able to snapshot power strength, so you can basically maintain that 90% strength effectively permanently. Very useful for longer runs. Now, in terms of the other trees utility, even if you are going to run specifically Madurai, for example, you still want to rank up the other trees, and that's largely because of what's called waybound nodes. Every focus tree has 2 nodes on the tree that are not only active while you're actually running that tree, but if you max them out, the final rank of those abilities unbinds them and makes them always available no matter which tree you actually currently have active. For example, one of the most important ones to unbind is on the Unairu tree. It's called Last Gasp. It says, revive your Warframe by transferring to operator and killing 3 enemies before 15 seconds elapse and the revive meter begins to drain. Now, it doesn't say this, but you can also kill just a single Xmas enemy, and that will instantly revive you as well. So if you have some harder targets nearby, you know, some Xmas that you can kill, if you just focus on them, you'll get yourself back up quite quickly. And we also have the Vengeance node, which effectively just makes you do additional damage the longer that you're in that Last Gasp mode for. So the longer it takes you to revive, the more and more damage that you'll build up to help you actually get that revive off, hopefully. Now again, once you unbind these 2 nodes will be active even when you're not actually running Unairu. That's why they're called waybounds, because you can unbind them from the tree effectively. And if you go look on the right side of my screen here, you can see all of the waybounds that you're able to get. Again, it's 2 per tree, and there's 5 trees, so there's going to be 10 in total. There's a lot of very useful ones. For example, Mind Step from Naramon says increase operator movement speed by 30%. And we also have Far Sling, which increases maximum Void Sling distance by 30%. So there's movement utility, there's damage utility, there's energy economy, like from Eternal Gaze, for example, as energy regeneration rate for amps and your Void Beam by 60%. So there's a lot of utility from having those waybounds unlocked. Now let's go take a look at the actual amp setup. Oh god, I'm hiccuping over here. All right. So the next thing to go over is going to be what arcanes are you actually using on both your operator and your amp. Now, currently, I think that a really good general all-purpose combination for your operator is going to be Magus Lockdown, which allows you to basically CC nearby enemies when you Void Sling, and Magus Melt, which gives you up to 230% additional heat damage to your amp, again on Void Slinging. So this is a lot of crowd control utility and damage utility. Now, these are not the only 2 useful operator arcanes, not at all. If you'd like to do a lot of Void Cascade, for example, you probably want to run Magus Cloud, because this massively increases the radius of your Void Sling. That way, when you're trying to break open those Void Tears to capture Exilizers, you can basically just dash through the middle of the bubble, and you can often just break all of the tears with your massive Sling AoE, so that's very useful for those of you that enjoy Cascade like I do out there. There's also healing arcanes, like Magus Repair, for example, and there's also, what's the other one called? It's called Magus Elevate, for example. There's also Magus Nourish. There's a lot of arcanes that basically you can use your operator as a Warframe heal, so that's very convenient as well. But currently I'm running Lockdown and Melt. I think the broadly applicable utility of those is very good. Now the amp arcanes, Generally, the combination of amp arcanes that almost everyone was using was Eradicate and Onslaught. Right now, though, in addition to benefiting from, some of the newer amp tech, I actually switched over to Eradicate and Logistics. So Eradicate is plus 60% amp damage on casting an operator ability. So if you just simply press your 1 or your 2, you'll have automatically 60% additional damage to your amp for 8 seconds. So that's a lot of very easily accessible damage utility. Eternal Logistics says on Void Sling plus 72% amp ammo efficiency for 8 seconds. You'll see how funny this is when we actually get to a mission, and especially when we use it on the alt fire of the 547. You can spam out a absurd amount of shots, which again makes it very, very easy to be able to self-revive. Another utility of being able to spam out shots like that is if you do have your Tauron Strike unlocked, so that you have access to this screen where you can put on your Tauron Arcanes, your Tectolist Artifact Arcanes rather, along with all of your mods. There's a few arcanes that are highly beneficial in conjunction with your amp. Zidon Uskos, for example, can give you up to 250% heat damage to your secondaries, and this stacks by either getting Tauron Strike kills or Operator kills. So especially if you have a very spammy glaive AoE alt fire, by being able to use that with Logistics and having virtually unlimited ammo, you can stack this quite fast, oftentimes within a single minute of starting the mission, at least on Steel Path missions with a lot of enemy density. Another good arcane, if you want to really maximize your damage against hard targets, would be Zidon Ozbok, which says Void Sling strips 30% of enemy overguard, and when overguard is stripped, you gain a plus 3x amp critical damage multiplier for 15 seconds. So you can strip overguard on command, and you get a massive critical damage buff. Again, if you're a Void Cascade runner, you might like this arcane for that game mode, because you can do a lot of extra damage to Thrax with this. Now, in terms of the mods we're actually running, I like to use my mods as a combination of movement speed buffs to my operator and a damage buff for the amps. So I'm using the Void Sling efficiency mod paired with the Void Sling distance mod. And then in terms of amp damage buffs, I'm using the 60% amp multi-shot paired with the crit chance to crit damage mod for your amp, and then the fire rate. The combination of these three mods is a massive DPS increase for your amps. And a good build already on an amp before this update was already able to shred even level cap Cascade, for example, but especially throwing these into the mix, your operator can get extremely high kills per minute now, very, very easily with a good setup. Now, in terms of, the kill rate and how many kills you're able to get per second and things like that, let's go ahead and hop into a survival and showcase, again, just how easily you can actually utilize this. And we're going to go down on purpose to show you how easily you can self-res using Last Gasp, assuming you have that unbound, or if you're just actually running Udnairis. Let's hop into a survival here. Okay. Gonna have to watch back some parts of this video, make sure I didn't miss anything too relevant. What's up, T-Spin?
Each enemy is more powerful than before. Only with true mastery of the Tenno arsenal will you succeed.
The Oregon Neural Sentry is attempting to purge you from this place. Stand by for life.
It says my frame rate is much higher than it actually feels right now. I just don't understand. Let me go try something. I'm not recording yet, so this is not going to count. Alright, so now I'm in a survival, and I'm going to let myself go down on purpose so you can see how easily you can use your operator to self-revive. So if they finally actually want to do their job and attack me, so I can go down here, we can showcase this. So I've gone down, and since I do have Last Gasp unlocked, I can now click 5 to go into my operator mode. And if I do a Void Dash, I can both dash to activate the heat bonus from Magus Melt and also activate the ammo efficiency buff from Logistics. And I can now spam a absurd amount of glaive shots, and it does so much damage that I wasn't even able to show myself spamming it because I basically instantly got back up. Let's actually go down again and showcase this. and try to actually not instantly kill them, you can see here the amount of glaives that I can fire that just bounce all over the map, killing everybody, is absolutely absurd. So absurd that even though I just shot it into this room not facing an enemy, it actually just bounced out of the room and killed enough enemies to revive me. So it's so incredibly hard to not be able to res yourself, again, especially when you have that Void Strike active. And don't forget that if you have Void Strike active, since you have the, assuming you've unlocked the node that gives you 40% amp ammo efficiency, while Strike is active, when you pair that with Logistics, you have virtually unlimited ammo on your amp. So you truly can spam this to unbelievable degrees. And even when you're not down, it's useful to be able to do that, because if you are using the Zidon Uskos Arcane, which again gives you secondary heat damage for every operator kill that you get, or Tower on Strike kill, then you can utilize your very rapidly killing operator to buff your Warframe's secondary weapon. And that also works on Exalteds, by the way, so if you're using like Mesa, for example, you can juice up her regulator damage by doing that, so it's a very, very fun damage utility that's very easily acquirable, again, thanks to the massive amount of damage that we're able to do here. I'm honestly, I still can't believe that they actually added the ability to have amp multi-shot, for example, on our amps. Just absurd levels of power creep, and I'm all here for it. You can see there's 100,000 damage right there. There's an Eximus, you know, just instantly back up. It could not be easier to get back up. The only way that I would not be able to res is if there is basically no enemies around to be able to kill to get back up. But then again, if there's no enemies around, you're probably not going to go down in the first place. So you can see I've gone down 4, 5, 6 times here, and every single time I can just easily get right back up. Even when I don't have Void Strike active, which again is a huge damage increase, you have enough damage just from the Contamination Wave and your Arcanes and the new Talon Strike mods, or the Techless mods rather, that even without having all of your damage bonuses active, it's still very, very easy to get back up. Again, you can see they keep trying and they keep failing to keep me down. So yeah, this is my general purpose amp build. An operator setup. Again, feel free to tweak this. For example, if you want to do Eidolons, you're probably going to use a slightly different setup. But for just all-purpose daily tasks, go into Cascade, self-reviving, you know, killing the Conjunction Survival Thrax to spawn every 5 minutes, whatever other examples you can think of, this has been a very effective, very easy, very utilitarian setup for me. And I have never had any issues, you know, since I've been running it. So try it out. Let me know down below, what do you think? Is there any different Arcanes you would run? Is there a different mod stuff you would run on your artifact? Do you like the different artifact Arcanes? Anything like that, let me know that down below. Maybe it'll give me some new interesting ideas to try out. Hopefully that was helpful to you. That was video number 25 of the month. Come back tomorrow for 26, and I'll see you guys in the next one. They finally got me. All right, how was that? Was it signed on? It's the Rift Guard signed on. You can't get it anymore. We're about to enter 2026 and people still play Warframe? Yes. People that like playing good games are still playing Warframe. It's crazy how that works. Okay. I don't think if I missed anything critically important in that. Favorite prime frame? Well, my favorite frame in the game is Gyre. And she did just get primed, so I guess I can also say she's my favorite prime frame now, too. Hurras just killed my Samaras target. Oh, rip. It's because your dog is fighting back at you for not feeding it enough kibbles. Alright, let's take a look at this video, shall we? It's that time again. Live editing. Hello there, and welcome back to the Codex. And welcome back to day 25. Merry Christmas, by the way. Of 31 of doing a video every single day of December to celebrate TennoBomb. Today's video is going to be a refresher on what I think is the best kind of all-purpose operator and amp setup that you can use to just dominate all regular content in the game. Basically, the only thing that it's not built around is doing like hyper-specific Eidolon setups, which, to be fair, nobody really does it anyway. Most people just want a good operator and amp for the purposes of like self-reviving or void cascade or just general mission use case or getting around using void sling, for example. So that's what we're going to be primarily going over. So the amp that I use is what's called a 547. Now you're going to see a chart on screen that is indicative of what those numbers mean. So when somebody says 547, for example, that's referring to a Cantic Prism, a Pod Scaffold, and a Certus Brace. So the first number means the Prism, the second number means the Scaffold, and the third number means the Brace. Now to get the combination of those three parts, you're going to need to rank up both the Quills and the Voxelar Syndicate. So let's go ahead and hop over to the Quills first and showcase what we need from them. That's right, I almost forgot that I said I was going to put that on screen. Yeah, I'm getting the chart right now. Well, I couldn't put the chart up during the actual video. That's in editing. I think I have that chart saved on... What the fuck? Oh, okay. I think I have this saved here somewhere on the Discord. Here it is. Here it is. Download image. Call it amp chart. Right there. Pictures. Where's the amp chart? Am I blind? Here we go. All right, where did I say I had a chart? Now, to get the combination of those three parts, you're going to need to rank up both the Quill and a Certus Brace. So the first number means the Prism, the second number, 7, for example, that's referring to a bit of what those numbers mean, or 7. Now, you're going to see a chart about right there. Now, you're going to see a chart on... Let's make it a little... smaller, though. Where's the fucking... There we go. Let's do it like that, shall we? That is indicative of what those numbers mean. So when somebody says 547, for example, that's... Whoa! What did I just do? Indicative of what those numbers mean. So when somebody says 547, for example, that's referring to a Cantic Prism, a Pod Scaffold, and a Certus Brace. So the first number means the Prism, the second number means the Scaffold, and the third number means the Brace. Now, to get the combination of those three parts, let's have that go like all the way up here. Indicative of what those numbers mean. So when somebody says 547, for example, that's referring to a Cantic Prism, a Pod Scaffold, and a Certus Brace. So the first number means the Prism, the second number means the Scaffold, and the third number means the Brace. Now, to get the combination of those three parts, you're going to need to rank up both the Quills and... I just realized this is way too fucking... You guys can't see this shit. What the fuck? Why is it so massive? Hold on, my bad. There you go. Didn't realize that screen was so blown up. Should be able to see more of it now. So let's go ahead and hop over to the Quills first and showcase what we need from them. So the scaffold that you want to get from... first and showcase what we need from them. So the scaffold that you want to get from the Quills, which is the only part that we get from the Quills, is the Pod Scaffold. It says it launches an energy disc that ricochets off victims and surfaces, and it launches itself towards new targets with each strike. So it's basically a bouncy glaive, and it... Stop pausing the video. No. It is incredibly effective at clearing out groups of enemies, as you will see in some gameplay later. Now let's go over to Little Duck and showcase what you need from her. So the scaffold they're going to be getting from the Quill. Why did I redo this again? Oh, it's because I didn't say the rank. Yeah, so let's cut this part out. And then re-add the... Okay, so what we need. Bouncy glaive alt 5 pod scaffold. This is a from the quill. Ricochets between those very incredible types of enemies. And that surviving, for example, instrument rank with the quills in order to get this. So if you're not already up to rank 4, you are going to have to work on getting those ranks up in order to acquire this. Now, the other two parts, the Certus Brace and the Cantic Prism, are going to come from Little Duck. So let's go ahead and hop over there and showcase those. There we go. Prism are going to come from Little Duck, so let's go ahead and... Would your Mirage build work well in the level 160 defense Void Fishers runs you were doing yesterday, and maybe swap Cuba Growler for the Icarus? I mean, yeah, Mirage with the Icarus nukes pretty hard. Are you talking about the defense? It's not going to do as well as like the Hildren that we were using, for example, but yeah, Mirage is pretty good AoE clear. Hop over there and showcase those. So the prism that we're going to be using, like I said, is going to be the Cantic Prism from Little Duck. Now, this only requires rank 2, but the brace that you want, which is easily the best brace in the game for basically every amp, is a Certus Brace. Now, this requires rank 4, so to get all of the amp parts, you are going to need to be up to rank 4 on the Voxelaris, just like you need to rank 4 for the Quill. So you are going to have to work on getting both of these up. It's not super hard, thankfully. The main thing you have to do is to do some Profit Taker fights, which... if you just need to do it enough to get all the parts that you need, it's really not that bad. And it's definitely worth it. Trust me, the 547 is an incredible amp. So now let's go ahead and showcase you are going to need to be up to rank 4 on the Voxelaris, just like you need to rank 4 for the Quill. So you are going to have to work on getting both of these up. It's not super hard, thankfully. And it's definitely worth it. Trust me. Let's cut some of that out. Have to work on getting both of these up. It's not super hard, thankfully, and it's definitely worth it. Trust me, the 547 is an incredible amp. So now let's go ahead and showcase the setup that I use on both my operator and my amp in regards to the... What's up, Fandub? How you doing? The arcanes and all that kind of stuff. And all that kind of stuff. Now, outside of just having the proper amp built, or whatever the amp is of your choice, you don't have to use the 547, it's just my personal favorite. There is other factors that will affect your power level. There's the operators, there's the, let's do that again. Let's delete that take, forgot about that. There you go. This is one of the videos I actually had to like watch all the way through because there's so many things I had to wipe out and edit, canes and all that kind of stuff. Now, outside of just having the proper amp built, there's other factors that will affect your power level. There's the actual arcanes that you put on your amp, and the arcanes for your operator, and the focus school choice that you make. So let's go ahead and take a look at those. Hopping into the settings here. So first of all, we'll go over the focus schools. Take a look at those. Hopping into the settings here. So first of all, we'll go over the focus schools before we get into the actual equipment. So first of all, we'll go over the focus schools before we get hopping into the settings here. So first of all, we'll go over the focus schools before we get into the actual equipment. Hopping into the settings here. So first of all, we'll go over the focus schools before. So let's go ahead and take a look at those. Hopping into the. So first of all, we'll look at the. I was fumbling over my words on this one, huh? Go ahead and take a look at those. So first of all, we'll look at the focus schools before we get into the actual equipment. So even with all these new Tauron strikes and the new operator passives and whatnot, I still do think... Thought you were Baker Mayfield. I feel like people have called me that, but I don't know who that is, to be honest. I'm just assuming I just look like whoever that is. That, in general, for the, you know, large, all-purpose, broad overview for what the best school is, I would still say Madurai is the most broad. I still do think that, in general, for the, you know, large, all-purpose, broad overview for what the best school is, I would still say Madurai is the most... I do think that, in general, for... I would still say Madurai is... I might just cut all this out right here. Do think that I would still say Madurai is the most broadly applicable to most content in the game. Just the amount of value that it gives you from largely just the huge damage increases that it gives you makes it very easy to, for example, self-revive, which is one of the main use cases that people often have for operators. One of the things that enables that is for, I'll just assume it's a good thing if I look like an NFL quarterback, I guess. Well, Phoenix Talons gives your operator 30% extra damage. Void Strike gives your operator up to 1,000% extra damage by draining your energy. And Void Fuel gives you extra ammo, basically, for your amp while Void Strike is active. And that's not even all. We also have things like Contamination Wave, which makes enemies more vulnerable to amp damage. That's also a very large damage increase. And we have other utility, even utility that affects your frame. For example, we have Sling Strength, which makes you have an additional 40% power strength to your Warframe after chaining slings together. In addition to that, if you do have the Talon Strike available from Madurai, we also have access to the new node, Overwhelming Power, which gives you up to another 50% power strength to your Warframe. So not only is your operator going to do a lot of damage, you can also juice up the strength of your Warframes on command, which is very nice. It's also very useful for frames that are able to snapshot power strength, so you can basically maintain that 90% strength effectively permanently. Very useful for longer runs. Now, in terms of the other trees utility, even if you are going to run specifically Madurai, for example, you still want to rank up the other trees, and that's largely because of what's called waybound nodes. Every focus tree has 2 nodes on the tree that are not only active while you're actually running that tree, but if you max them out, the final rank of those abilities unbinds them and makes them always available no matter which tree you actually currently... Okay. Was there any other... I'm going to skip ahead a bit here. Is there any other things I need to cut out? Are we seriously only like 4 minutes into like a 12-minute video? We have active. For example, do you read chat? Favorite frame? Yes, I do read chat. My favorite frame is Gyre. One of the most important ones to unbind is on the Unairu tree. It's called Last Revive You as well. So if you have some harder targets nearby, you know, or so the longer it takes to Unairu, that's why they're called waybounds, because you bounds that you're able to get. You also have Far Sling, which increases maximum economy, like from a lot of utility from having those waybounds unlocked. Now let's go take a look at the actual amp setup. So the next thing to go over is from having those waybounds unlocked. Now let's go. No. Unfreeze. The GPU failed to perform image processing because of an error. What the fuck are you talking about? What? Hello? Hello? What? What are you talking about, bro? Did my game just crash? My fucking game just crashed. Are you shitting me? Bro. Can I seriously not do anything with this fucking video anymore? For real? Bro, what the... You gotta be fucking kidding me, dude. Let me edit the video. Play, motherfucker. Dude, there's no fucking way. Oh, this is so fucking stupid, dude. I'm having several issues tonight, man. I gotta restart my computer or something. I swear OBS has like a memory leak error, because every time that I stream for like a few days in a row, if I don't restart my computer, it seems like this shit happens. Oh my god, dude. I'm tempted to just end the stream, edit this all as fast as possible, restart my computer, and then come back on stream. Speaking of stream, let me make sure my stream is actually still fucking going. Yeah, looks like it is. Fucking hell, man. Yeah, I'm gonna. God damn it. I'm gonna restart the stream, guys. It should be within like 20 minutes, hopefully. Yeah, we're gonna restart. I'll be back whenever I'm back, and we'll get back to it. So come back later. Hopefully, I'll see you all again. Sorry about this. Gonna shut the stream down.